No, but I notice about your writing though, and I always I pay attention to you online. Whether it's in a video or some of the posts that you write, or some of the things you are you influenced by the rappers that you encounter?
I could say I would have to be, right? I would have to be. And as a writer myself, as someone who's creating myself, I think I would have to be. I think the only thing that saves me from not being influenced by individuals is just because the amount of hip-hop music and the amount of overall music and influences that I'm listening to.
Well, it's just like in terms of being
so
an artist,
overbearing though, you know what I'm saying? But as far as being an artist and stuff like that, like for example, I'm certainly influenced by artists. Like people ask me to be on songs all the time now.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I never wanted to do that because after a while I realized that I don't like performing. I don't like being someone else in a performance. And I want to, if I speak to people, I want to be seen as what I am and not what I'm stage, presenting as a stage performance, even though I have creative works that I love to share. So it's always been a contradiction. But as far as MCing, I never wanted to be an MC. Even when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a singer if I could be a singer. I'd rather be Donny Hathaway any day.
But you kind of are an MC in terms of, because you kind of got to be like the master of ceremony as a teacher.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of parallels, right. Which they ultimately make me comfortable in that. Mm-hmm. And obviously I've MC'd showcases and things like that, you know what I mean? And you get influenced because there are so many styles that you adhere to that are really great. And then you think like, well, what would be the best way to deliver this though? You know what I mean? So it becomes more too cerebral sometimes. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking to that, because I there were a couple of joints that you did that you recorded. Like there was one in front of the school that I saw.
Right. Yeah.
And what brought to my mind was that I could tell that you're paying attention to the delivery. Like you're delivering it in an artistic way.
Right.
Poetically.
Sit to study, plan, stand, original man, kneel one knee, neighborhood's furious leftovers, NFL, aim at those that force our flee. Antagonize them, respect fake fans, and damn the hands that rape seeking respite in the beds they left us in. We, wretched of the earth, always make homes too stylish for our own good. Goods pass through by blasting and boosting, and the bads hover, an incense of anti-heroism attracting deporters.
Right. Yeah, I try not to deliver it in an MC fashion, even though some lines will rhyme because I want to give people a sense of rhythm in it, but I don't adhere to a rhythm as far as like a rhyme. You know what I mean? I want to be able to go across from it. And if people put whatever,
I'll pick that up as well.
Right? If people put me in a song, I don't want it to be so off that it's theirs. But I have no care. People laughing, but I have no care for staying on beat or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
So you're not worried about the beat?
Yeah, I don't. People send me beats. They'll send me a beat. Hey, could you put something on this? And I'm like, okay, I only complain if they send me a beat that sounds horrible because I don't want my what I say to be on such a bad beat. If I was to complain, but I really don't do things with the beat. I just say what I feel like saying. When Mark Hanno, aka Prince Power Rule, set up the whole Leftovers, he wanted me to kind of introduce what it's about on that album. So that's the first thing you hear is my verse when you listen to the album, the Engraved in New York album for the Leftovers. So I was like, well, if you want to do a video, let's do it here. Because the name Leftovers is because he heard that from white people in Bushwick saying that they're the leftovers. The Puerto Ricans still here.
Oh shit.
So after gentrification, they know what they did. They said they're the leftovers. So he took it like,
white people actually saying this.
The leftovers is a slur that he embraced. You know what I mean? And so I wrote a whole verse about gentrification that would introduce what we're about, anti-gentrification. And I said, what would be the best place to do it? In a place that's gentrified, Harlem, in a place where I learned all the stuff. And then, like, what would I do? I do Kung Fu because I learned Kung Fu because of the gods. I learned with Seagung Bobby Whitaker, but all his students are the 5%. And it's because of the 5% that brought me to Seagung Bobby Whitaker that I learned Kung Fu. So I was displaying the lyricism, but also all the movements that I learned because of being here. I learned that here. And there's no, if you gentrified Harlem, you could never replace those things that I learned here. They're special. You can only learn those things like I learned them here. You know what I mean? In a magnificent way. So I thought that doing it in front of the school and showing like the pictures of the school and everything, it would really show like, yo, this is what gentrification tries to get rid of. And they're gonna fail, you know? And that was the whole point. That's why I did the video here, you know?
And it was genuinely you know?
Yeah, I mean,
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, people that, if you know me, this is really that's my real Kung Fu, and that's really what I think, and this is where I say it, you know what I mean? Right.
And you've been a staple here for
right, because people don't know
years.
that, like, having the knowledge this long here and being here in Harlem, we fight a lot of gentrification. We had to go up into the state building, you know what I'm saying? We had to fight other people that try to take our lessons and stuff. To me, it's a kind of gentrification, because when you dilute what we're sharing, you're appropriating and selling it to the highest bidder that you can get, as whether you're a street vendor or you're someone in a store or you're some corporatized person. So to me, it's all fighting that, you know, and that's the life that we've had, you know what I mean, that we've had here in the school. This school is not something that we just come to and then share our ideas. This is something that we have to protect and continue to have to protect. So, you know, all those things, I tried to express them. And I wasn't thinking of a lot of school in Mecca when I wrote that, you know. I just thought it would be really perfect to be there, you know. And I didn't have a chance to meet up with Marcano, so they just had me do the whole song and had the other verses after, you know. Right? So I think it worked out really good. And that day was 100 degrees. It was 100 degrees that day, you know. So I really was on the Qigong, because any other day I would have been sweating like hell. And I didn't sweat that much considering how much I was moving. Because if you watch the video, you don't see a lot of sweat, you know. But
well, you really like championing writing as an official art or official element of hip hop.
Yeah,
that's important to you.
It is, because it's something that I've tried to do since 1995. So I was in college thinking like, yo, I only write about these people. And I don't know who it was, just a random person. It was like, yo, you think, he was like, I guess jealous of what I was writing. And he was like, oh yeah, you think you're somebody, you just write about other people and you're really nobody. And I was thinking to him like, maybe he's right, because like, I'm not really hip hop if I'm just writing.
If Mecca did this.